How long are we planning on staying? Are we planning on getting married? Will it be hard there as a vegan? Will I be working out there? Will I be tutoring online? Will he attend school in Uganda? What kind of school? Will it be international? Will I homeschool him? My UK family met my Ugandan family. This was not an easy decision.
Even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm.
Hi everybody and welcome back to our channel. So a week ago today we announced that Adam and I would be moving back to Uganda for a little while, and I thought you'd all have a few questions, so I said I'd do a Q&A this week. I did not anticipate how many questions you guys would actually have. Yeah, I've tried my best. I've gone through them all, and some of them are obviously all quite similar, so hopefully if I haven't featured your exact question, it still covers what you've asked, but there was just no way that I could possibly answer everything, so we may have to do another one. This is likely to be quite long as well, so yeah, sit tight. So yes, hopefully you'll find it interesting. Okay, so a few of you said that you did not see this coming, and to be honest, neither did we. So it was not like obviously it's something that's always been a possibility, maybe at the back of my mind, but it wasn't, I didn't really think it was something we could do. Someone has asked, what was the catalyst? And it may sound silly, but basically I'd hoped to bring my dog Toto over to the UK. It has been, obviously it's actually easier to bring a dog than it is to bring over the rest of my family, and it has been like the first family member that I was hoping to bring over, and it was a possibility that it was going to happen, and then it didn't. And to me that kind of sparked like, look, this isn't working, nothing is moving in the right direction, we've got to make a change, or nothing is going to change, you know. We can't keep going on like this, we can't keep living like this, we're not making the progress that we hoped we would. So then I've had the question, how can me being in Uganda help speed things up? What's me being there rather than here going to do? And basically, some of you may have had similar experiences, but for us in Uganda, if we ever want to get something done, you can't just like pay your lawyer and assume he's doing it. That just doesn't happen. You have to be at his office every single day, making sure he does what he's supposed to be doing. Otherwise, he'd just take on other jobs from other people who are doing that. And then, yeah, so that's, in our experience, always been the case, and with all the various offices we have to get things from. And it is just simply impossible for Josh to do that and look after the kids and the pets and the charity and everything else that comes up. You know, even in these 3 years, Josh spent several months in Kenya with Dan, and you know, there's always something, which means he can't focus on that. And in the summer we were really trying to push some bits, and then for weeks on end he's not even looked at it again because he simply hasn't been able to. Our kids have been sick this year with scabies. There's just been so much going on that he can't possibly push the adoption and do everything else he needs to do. Realistically, 2 of us still isn't enough for everything we need to do, but it's a lot better than 1. So the idea is that I will take over the kids and the dogs and all that side of things, and he can solely focus on pushing this adoption. It does mean that Josh and I won't be spending that much time together, but we'd be moving there for a very specific reason, to get something done. Another question was, how are we getting on with the adoptions? And I feel like my last answer probably answered that. Not very well. Everything's at a standstill. There's various things that we need to get done, that we need to really push, and we haven't. And yeah, on top of that is the fact that we've paid lawyers to do things, and things haven't been done, and that money is lost, and it really doesn't help. Nothing positive to share on that. Hopefully when I'm out in Uganda, I will have an update for you all. So is the adoption of the 3 being complicated by the fact they have immediate family in Uganda? So for those of you who might not know, George, Tallie and James do have living biological parents. However, and I have said before in videos, I'm not willing to go into details about why their biological parents do not look after them. But they never did. Even before they were with us, they were with Josh's mum, and Josh's mum is getting really old, and she's actually been in hospital an awful lot this year. Josh is their biological family, and it was his mum or him. Realistically, they were the only people able and willing to look after the children, and Josh's mum, I say able, but she was struggling. So no, I don't think the fact they've got living biological parents in this instance makes a difference. They are unable to look after the children. How long are we planning on staying? Will we be staying until the adoptions are finalised? I don't have an answer. It's very open-ended. We've provisionally booked for a few months. We kind of just have to see how things go, if it helps us being out there, if it even works, if we can manage, how Adam does. We may find that being there is really helping, and you know, we may stay for longer. We may find that it's not at all, and yeah, it's all very open-ended. We don't really know. In an ideal world, yes, the adoptions would be finalised. And then Adam and I would head back to the UK, because again, still to get them the visas to come here, we have to be, well, I have to be here and earning a living here. So we will still have to spend time apart, unless I miraculously come into an awful lot of money. We will have to spend time apart, because I will have to be working here and earning a certain amount of money to cover the finance part of the visa. So in an actual ideal world, I'd win the lottery, but in the second, more realistic world, I would love to be there until the adoptions are finalised, and then Adam and I move here, and then it will probably just be just over 6 months sort of thing until they'll, hopefully, if it all goes through, be able to join us. That is the dream anyway, but I guess we'll see what happens. Is the end goal to come to the UK and live? Yes, it is. It's going to be a struggle out in Uganda. We are going because I feel like we don't really have a choice. We've got to try and make a change and do something, but it is going to be very, very hard. We can't afford particularly good schools for our children. We won't be able to get a car. We're going to be living in a very small house. We're going for a purpose. It is not really where we want to settle long term. We would love to be able to spend time in the future in both countries, but the UK is a better fit for our family, because Josh can get a job and earn money too, and our children can go to school. So the end goal is still to move to the UK. How much longer do I think it will take? I wish I had an answer to this question. I have absolutely no idea. I always give myself ideas of like timelines, but truly impossible to say, honestly impossible. All I know is that if we had the time and the money, the adoption probably could go through relatively quickly in Uganda. And then in terms of the UK, I have to come back, get myself another full-time job, and then be working in that job for 6 months before I can apply. Of course, then hoping that it goes through, because it could always be rejected. But the UK side of things, a little over 6 months. I can't remember how long the visa decision making is. But yeah, in Uganda, I really couldn't tell you. Will it be easier if we both get married? Are we planning on getting married? It won't in terms of the adoption in Uganda. That is why we are not married yet. We actually went to the sort of town hall place, council place, years ago, and put in our intent to was it notice to get married? I can't remember, our intent to marry, whatever it was, because we planned to years ago. But then we were advised that it would make the adoption so much more complicated there, because then it would be an international adoption, and it would just be easier for Josh to adopt those children, and then we worry about getting married and things later. So the plan is to get married, and we will, and yeah, it would be easier in terms of Josh coming to the UK, and it was something we always planned on doing. We're just waiting for Josh to adopt his family members first, so we don't complicate that. Okay, the absolute most common asked question was all about Adam's education. Will he attend school in Uganda? What kind of school? Will it be international? Will I homeschool him? Will he not fall behind? Is the education different? Will this not unsettle him more and affect his progress? When I tell you now that this was what made it the hardest ever decision, this was not an easy decision. I may seem excited about it now, but I was very stressed and in a lot of tears for a lot of days trying to make this decision. And we did go back and forth. At one point, it was a potential idea of Adam actually staying with my parents so that it didn't affect school. However, That's a lot for them to take on, and I appreciate education is so important. I am a huge advocate of education, hence having a charity that provides an education for children. However, I don't think it's more important than your family, and I think it would probably affect him more being away from me and knowing that I'm there than being out of school. Yes, it probably is going to affect his education. He already has loads of catching up to do. He's already has so much change. Guys, this is not a perfect decision. I feel like it's an impossible decision I've had to make, where no, this probably isn't the best thing I'm doing for him. It probably isn't. Although I do think it is so important for him he misses his dad, he misses his siblings. But in terms of education, no, this is definitely not the best thing for him. And it's really hard to make a decision that is not the best thing for your child. But what about what is best for the other three? What about what is best for our family as a whole? I'm going to try not to cry. Because it's not easy. It really isn't. I feel like I'm in an impossible situation where I can't do what's best for everyone. So yes, it is my biggest concern as well, and I don't want to put him through more change and keep doing this, but I also know how important it is for him to be with the rest of our family as well. And if this makes them come here, helps them come here, like, it will be worth it, won't it? But it's not easy. It hasn't been easy. So in terms of his education though, I spoke to his school. I've been really, everyone has been so supportive. I was so worried that, even the school would be like, what are you doing? No, I don't know. I just really thought I'd get negative reactions, whereas I've had like endless support from everybody. So his school have to unenroll him, but they have put in writing that they will re-enroll him whenever we come back, and to just go and get done what needs to be done. Like, there will be a place for him. The head has said that we will make sure that he is still in communication with his class and getting work, so that's just amazing. In terms of out in Uganda, I cannot afford an international school. There is just no way. To send all 4 of my children to an international school, I'm looking at about $20,000 a year. I don't have that. I just don't. So he will be joining his brothers and sisters in their local school. Now, it is very different education, back to sitting in rows, blackboard learning. I really don't know how it's going to go. It's going to be a struggle, but I think he'd actually be more upset staying home whilst his brothers and sisters went to school. So I think it's quite important for him to go with them and do what they're doing. At least he'll be in a routine and he'll be doing things socially and still, being in the classroom. I, however, will be topping up his learning. So anyway, schools don't start, it's the long holidays over Christmas in Uganda, so schools don't go back till February. So January, I will be homeschooling them, and I really struggled to homeschool Adam, especially here. However, when we visited last year, he was keen on doing work every single day because George is, and with George is, Adam is. So I'm really hoping that I'll be able to get work done with with all of them, but yeah, they're the same year group and everything, so that works quite well. And then when he does go to school, I still will be topping it up and doing the work that's coming from his school in the UK. So it'll be interesting. I think it will be a bit of a shock to Adam. He's never actually been to a local school because when we were there before, I was working in a sort of a small international school that has now closed, and he went there. So yeah, I hope it won't affect his progress. It probably will. I'm going to do my absolute best. But it's just, yeah, an impossible situation. It has been the biggest factor, the stress factor in making this decision anyway. But what do I do? Do we give up becoming a family because of schooling? Like, I just don't think, I don't think we had a choice. Okay, so how does Adam feel about moving and not seeing his friends? So I keep asking him how he's feeling about it, and he has not mentioned his friends once. I think it's one of those things where he's excited about what's coming at the moment rather than what he's leaving behind. It's always the way, isn't it? But he is, if I'm honest, a lot closer to George and Tallie than he is anyone locally here. So I don't think that will impact him that much. I think who he's really, really going to miss, oh, getting emotional again, and another reason why I found it very hard to make this decision is my parents and my brother, and Molly of course too, because he is very, very, very close to them. If I'm honest, I think he prefers Grandad to me. And it was really hard telling them we were considering going back. My dad was the last person I told because I just kept crying. thinking about telling him. But one of my questions now is, how are our UK family feeling about the move? Obviously, in some ways, you know, upset, like, especially, I mean, they'll probably miss me a bit maybe, but they're going to miss Adam a lot. I know my brother and Molly have very much said how much they're going to miss him. My dad, I think, is just quite worried about us going back. He always worries, you know, he wants all his loved ones around where he can make sure they're safe. I think my mum gets it. Again, she doesn't think it's necessarily the best thing for Adam, but she gets why I've got to do it. They have been very supportive, but I mean, I think they wish we weren't going. And have my UK family met my Ugandan family? So only my brother. My brother has met Josh twice and George and Tallie once, because he came out to Uganda twice to visit. Obviously Molly is a new addition to our family, so she's not been out there. And my mum has been out to Uganda once, but it was before Adam was even born, when I first went myself. So no, not really. But are my parents going to come out there and meet everybody? So there is no plans to at the moment. There's lots of reasons really why they can't. However, I think everyone is kind of in the backs of their minds saving a trip out there for if/when Josh and I get married. And so, you know, it's quite a big trip coming out to Uganda. So I think that's the plan really. Whether or not that'll be when I'm out there now with Adam, who knows? But yeah, I think that's the plan. They'll be meeting my husband on our wedding day. Okay, will Dan get to be part of the family? And actually, I've had questions about Dan previously and about Sienna. So Dan, for those of you who might not know, is a boy that we support with our organisation who got kidney disease. Was it the year before last? I think it was the year before last. We spends an awful lot of time with Josh and our family because of this. And Sienna, who you haven't asked about now, but I thought I'd just cover it, was also living with us for a while and is Josh's niece. So we've been asked, are we adopting them too? I think some people mistook and thought Sienna is the sibling of Tallie, George and James, and she is not. She is Josh's brother's daughter. No, we will not be adopting her. She came to stay for a little while, but she doesn't need to be adopted. Josh's brother is quite poorly, but she has a mother perfectly capable of looking after her, so it would make no sense. So that, no. Dan, you guys, if I had the means, I would. And there's actually a couple of children that we support that if I had the means, I would. But I just don't. I just can't possibly manage to adopt more and get more children here unless I do win the lottery. For Dan, it is really hard. He does have this disease now, and he's got a really weak immune system. In Uganda, it's, you know, disease and sickness is just more prevalent, and when he gets it, it really affects him. And it is hard, and he's going to be on medicine probably the rest of his life and on treatment the rest of his life. It's expensive, really expensive. The cost of his treatment costs more than, you know, your average salary in Uganda. The best thing for Dan would be to be adopted, but I can't do it. I have to, like, somewhere say, I just can't take on everyone, you know? It's gonna make me sad again. Because I love him so much. We do, and he is like an extended member of our family. He does. The best thing would be for him to be adopted, but it can't be by our family. Can't possibly manage. But we will support him the best we can for as long as we can. I had no plans to get emotional in this video, and I have several times already. You guys, these questions. Okay. Will Josh be looking for a bigger house, or will he be living in the current flat? So Josh has recently moved to a smaller than any of our houses before, 2-bed flat, and that is where we will stay together as a family. We don't need somewhere big, we want somewhere small. We are also, you know, we've never had an awful lot of money, and we've always struggled to furnish our houses. You may have seen in a lot of our videos that we have all these big empty rooms, and so I guess the idea with a smaller flat is easier to furnish and make more into a home. And we don't need somewhere big. Want somewhere small, easy to clean, you know. This isn't our forever home. This is, you know, whilst we get something done. Okay, will I be working out there? Will I be tutoring online? So I will not be getting a job out in Uganda, simply because, again, it is not our plan to stay there, you know, long term. I will be tutoring online. I'm very lucky that For the time being, my my manager has said that I can continue my tutoring work as long as the internet and the power is reliable, and I'm doing all I can to make sure that nothing can go wrong with that. It's not an awful lot, but it will certainly help sustain us. We also do make a very small amount of money online, again, not a lot at all, but we're hoping to keep building on that. We also have a Patreon page where we share extra content, and that then helps. So all these things help, they all add up together. So yeah, tutoring online and then our online content with you guys. It's going to be a huge struggle. That is part of the reason we had not decided to do this before, but we are just determined to make it work. To, we've got about a week out there where we plan on having a really lovely time as a family, and we're spending Christmas at a cottage together. But then after that, it's going to be, very simple life, just getting stuff done. Will it be hard there as a vegan? So yes and no. So most foods there are kind of naturally vegan, rice and beans, matoke, just all the fruits, and a lot of it is just naturally vegan. What I won't be able to have is all the Western food, because you go to sort of the Western restaurants for pizza and burgers, there isn't any vegan options. So I'll be a lot healthier anyway, put it that way. So yeah, lots of healthy, pulses, grains, vegetables, fruit. I know they do have soy milk there, so we should be able to get some of that. It's quite pricey. I'm going to be a lot healthier basically, guys. Okay, will we bring our pets back with us when we return to the UK? So obviously I briefly touched on this topic right at the beginning of this video when I'm talking about my dog Toto, because yes, that is our plan. We want to bring the pets. We have 2 dogs, Toto and Kovu, and 1 cat, Silver, and we'd love to bring them all. I'd always hoped to bring Toto over sooner, because as lots of you will know, obviously I'm living with my parents still because I fund the family in Uganda, and he could quite easily come here and be fine. Kovu we want to bring over, but we'd have to wait until we are in our own place, because he's a great dog, he is a great dog, but he is, we essentially got him as security, and we've just got to be a little bit more careful with him. Like, you wouldn't leave him in a room with a plumber, for example. We've just got to be a little bit more careful, so it doesn't really work living in someone else's house with him. But yeah, the plan is to bring them all over. They are part of our family as well. Okay, will we still support the children's organisation when we leave, who will run the charity? So yes, we have our charity CEDA. I won't say a lot on this at the moment, simply because we're going through lots of big decision making. Not only are we making this big change with myself and Adam moving out there, but we want to make some big changes with CEDA as well, because that is another area of our life where things just aren't really working, where we have probably taken on more than we can manage on top of everything else in our life. We will never ever give up on those children, but we are having to have a big rethink about what we do and how it's done. And obviously when some big decisions are made, we will first announce it to all the supporters of CEDA, and then I will come on here and let you all know, because we're having to make some big decisions there as well. But just know that those children will never be given up on by us. They are part of our family as well, and we love all of them, and they deserve it. They deserve the chance to have a good future. You also asked, is there anything you can do to help us? And yes, there are so many things you could do to help us. Obviously some financially. If you want to join our Patreon page, you'll get updates before everyone else, a little bit of extra content, and that can massively help, because it's a monthly income. We can put that money either towards, adoption costs, towards living costs, anything, but it would massively help, and we really want to grow our community over there. Then along the line still of the financial sort of help, you guys asked if we had an Amazon wish list, and we created one with bits that we'd really like to take out, and there are a few things left on there that would be massively helpful. But honestly, the most important thing, commenting on all our videos, liking our videos, watching our videos, sharing our videos, our videos with your family and friends, getting them to watch too, follow too. The more we can grow our online platform, it helps in so many ways. We love it. We love chatting with you all, communicating with you all, having this sort of huge support network. I can't tell you how much of a relief it has been, the positivity that we have got after making this announcement, when it was a decision I was really worried to make and found really hard to make, and then was quite, concerned to announce. I didn't know how people would take it. you have all been so supportive, and it just helps so much. But also, yeah, the bigger our community, the more chances we might get things like brand partnerships, and just, you know, money. I mean, money's not everything, but money does make the world go round. Everything would be easier and much faster if we had more of it. But yeah, so likes, shares, comments, all of that. Anyway, this has been incredibly long. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. If you've got any more questions, let me know. But we just absolutely cannot wait to share all this new content with you, with our move to Uganda and reuniting with our family. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again next week. Bye guys.
Came along, couldn't look away. Somehow you turned my life completely upside down. And since you've been gone, there's no peace of mind.